let me get on to our basketball ideology.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna need your help in this one because
Okay.
it's not really a rant. It's more of it's me again trying to understand why and how. Okay, so I had numerous. This past week was tryouts,
Absolutely.
and I had numerous players trying out for the team. A lot of success, obviously, and there were some that I was like, based on what I had heard about what had happened before, like, if the kids are placed in the basketball class, they have a better chance of making the team.
Mm-hmm.
Kids don't make the basketball class, it's like their chances get dropped
Real
right?
quick, yeah.
And I've had players who are not trying out for freshmen who are, JV or varsity.
That's tough. That makes it tougher.
And no, these players were already on the team. I'm sorry, they were have an opportunity to move up, and then there's conversations with those players according to the player, and I'd have to reach out to that actual coach to ask, but I know a lot. I know coaches will tell players, "Hey, we're expecting big things from you next year. We're looking for you to do this. We're looking for you to do that. You got to fight for your spot, right?" Mm-hmm. And then when the opportunity comes, they're getting mixed signals, right? When kids are playing or trying out for freshmen, or if they're coming back in, try out for JV or varsity, sometimes they're given mixed signals, or if they don't make the team, the parents or the kids will say, well, they said I wasn't ready, or I'm not, I'm not ready, or I need you to show more things. But what they don't do is they don't be specific in communicating, right? If you got a potential, like we're in an age where you should be able to say, not without degrading the person, but we should be able to say what we feel and be truthful. If you don't think a kid has opportunity, you say, look, I don't foresee you being able to make this team unless you can correct A, B, and C, whatever those things are. You can get those things fixed, you have a fighting chance. Doesn't mean you're gonna make it, but you got a chance to make team. I feel, and I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Okay.
I feel like some coaches say these things as cop-outs.
Okay. I would say yes, but here's the reason why. Parents, you're a problem. You're a major problem.
Nah.
I'm telling you.
I'm talking about
is it all?
Just I'm talking
hear me
about.
out.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Hear me out. All I'm saying is this. Parents, when I mean is it your fault, your approach to your kids' process in high school, especially when they're trying to come up that ladder, coaches now just don't trust parents. So they generalize what they say. If I'm specific, right, and I need this kid to do, like you said, A, B, and C, then they're like, hey, he did it. But there's levels to that.
Yeah, no, and that's why I'm saying.
And I just think they're afraid of parents. I shouldn't say afraid. They are very leery of parents because they can say anything and go to, depending on who they know. I've just this last couple years, parent was a FBI agent and the mom was worked at the lawyer's office, and they trumped up some charges on a coach and just created a mess of the whole program.
Yeah, and look.
I know you don't condone that.
Right. That right there is an entirely different thing that really needs to be addressed. I get 100%. I want to stay on topic with this because I hear it year after year. And all I'm saying is, like, I had some kids who were going to try out, and I told them right in front of their parents, I was like, the chances of you making the team are very slim for these reasons. I said, you didn't try out for freshmen, right? You're going back. They usually have their team. You're gonna have to be exceptional. You can't be as good as is kids 10 through 14 because they don't need kids through 14. Better. You got to be as good as 1 through 5.
Yeah, and that's true. But let me say this: if you're trying to make a team, you need to be at every open gym,
Yes.
every weight room. You need to make sure you're visible. If they're going on a picnic, you show up. If they're going like wherever, like you know, they do certain things.
Yeah.
And a lot of these high schools, they do some really good
It's
things.
a lot of
They
team
visit
building and stuff.
children's hospitals.
Right.
You need to be at all those events.
Right.
Thank you, Coach, for letting me be here, man. I appreciate it, and I think your chances will increase.
Well, now, but see, that's different because if you're talented enough to play, if you're good enough to be on the team, it shouldn't matter how many things you go to. If you can get on the floor, and I'm not saying you know you're good, so you don't do those things.
Right.
I'm saying
No,
when
course,
it comes down to what you're doing, what your coach is trying to do is win games. Can he help you? If you're good enough, you should be able to make the team. If not, why not just say, you know what, this, and that. I've had 2 situations within the past 3 years where a kid, and these were at different schools, where a kid was told they made the team, and then a week later they're told they didn't make the team. They can be like the general manager or something. How does that work? This is at 2 different schools.
Well, that has nothing to do with the parent. That's all on the
That's
coach.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And I get what you're
but
saying.
all that stuff is it's like gumbo, you know. Now, am I gonna sit here and say, just being honest, all high school coaches are fair? Of course not.
Yeah,
Of course
and
not.
I know that, and I
not.
know that, and I try because look, we have players all across the city, so it's not like I get all of the players we train are from one school. I get players
Right.
from every school, usually on a year-end basis, at least 85%, either on the boys' side or on the girls' side. We know 85 to 95. I mean, we know all of the coaches, but as far as knowing them, I know me personally about 85% of the coaches that I can actually talk to,
Right.
you know, if I wanted to.
I'm just gonna say this: like there are tiers, and as much as I don't want to say this, like you got some high school coaches, they don't know what they want. They really don't.
And that's
You know, I mean, you know this. There's some that have been put in place and are not ready and have been 4 or 5 years in and still not ready.
Right.
And so a lot of times we tell our players communicate. We have to. We got to hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah, and that's not what's big, because
I'll just say this. I apologize. I've always had pre-season meetings with guys who are in tryouts. I took the time to do that. I thought it was important. All you got to do is make sure every kid is important. Are they going to get 10 shots a game? No, but everyone has a role. I mean, I have literally told a kid, hey, this kid's probably not going to make it. And I said, man, you're probably not going to make it. I said, but I'm telling you, you got coaches pulling for you. Because it was always a democratic process for me. Your staff has to be involved in that, you know? And I had a coach on my staff who really didn't like a kid. I said, man, this isn't about that at all.
And that's
not about
that's
that.
the craziest thing. And if that is the case, if you don't like that kid, then there needs to be a conversation about, is it something basketball or is it something personal? And I get it. We're all human. So if somebody rubs us the wrong way, I get you might not want to deal with them. But that's not your job to treat somebody bad just because you don't like the way they are. To make things exceptionally harder and force them off just because you don't like them, right? If they can help your team, all you have to do is have a conversation about what you need them to do.
I agree, 100%.
And
that happens a lot, man.
And those things aren't happening everywhere. And I know it's not fair. I'm not saying that everything has to be. I think everybody should have an opportunity, right? Now, if you get in, like for instance, I have a couple of players. One of them is pretty athletic that can help the team with his hustle, right? Kid, and I said, look, you want to show them how you hustle. You want to grab every rebound. Do not try to do things that you are not capable of, because that's going to put you in a bad light. Play on your strengths. We can work on your weaknesses and bring them up, but you need to understand, this kid was somebody who didn't play. I don't think they played middle school, but they wanted to play high school. And they played a lot of, open gym stuff. And when I got them in the group with some different things, they were lost. And I tried to work with them on that, right? So I told them, there's a chance you might not make it because of these things. Right. So, that's why I'm trying to work on them.
Can I ask why they didn't play in middle school?
And that's the thing. There are various reasons. I have to double check to make sure that the kid did play or didn't. I don't think they played. I think it was...
Because middle school is the worst sometimes.
And that's
it's the worst sometimes.
As far as
equality, equity.
Right. It's bad. But what I tell them is, if you don't play your middle school season, they don't at least get a look at you, right? Yeah. And then I have kids who haven't played a lot of city ball. And what I tell them is city ball serves a purpose because you're at least playing against really good competition. You're learning all the stuff that you're going to be doing in high school. Yeah. So you need to play it because that experience and that speed will help you. Yeah, and I tend to get a lot of players who don't meet those check boxes. Mm-hmm. They don't check those boxes. Mm-hmm. So I understand that they're probably going to not make the team. But what I do tell them is, if you don't make it, ask the coaches, coach, what kept me off the team? Mm-hmm. What was it that I wasn't showing you, right? I said, coaches love that because that's you taking accountability. Right. And then they'll say, like, for instance, oh, well, you're just not ready. What the hell does that mean? Say, you know what? When we were running this play, you weren't getting down the court. You look lost here. We can't have that.
I could see somebody saying that for varsity, but not JV or freshman. I just don't. That's just me.
Yeah, if you're a freshman or JV trying out for varsity, right, you can say, "Hey, you're not ready." Right. Right. But
why are you not ready?
That's my whole point. Yeah. You just need to say, "Look, you're not ready." Well, okay, you're not ready is a broad term. Hey, you're not ready on offense. You're not ready on defense. Those are broad terms. Mm-hmm. Be specific. You're not closing out correctly. I had a player. Won't say the player's name, won't say the coach's name. But the player, the drill was they were closing out, and this coach says, you gotta close out with your hand up. So the player closed out without his hand up. Got talked to. Run. Player closed out without his hand up. Got to talk to. So the player is telling me that, so we worked on it. I said, that's the fastest way for you to not be on the floor, right? Because if you're guarding somebody that can shoot, that's an invitation to shoot. So you must get better. I said, look, this is an easy thing. Either you're going to get better or you're going to be on the bench. So that's going to be a decision you have to make. Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, player didn't make varsity because that was something that they couldn't do. And then they became disinterested, and there was a whole lot of stuff. But yeah,
what high school players, any player, honestly, you have to understand that all this is built on trust.
Yes.
If I tell you, hey, when you get in the paint, I need you to be on a jump stop, and you go off 1 foot the first time, hey man, jump stop. You do it again, chances are they don't want you because they can't trust you.
Now, I do take a slight issue with that because I've prided myself with teaching players the certain situations, right? If you slash to the basket and that jump stop is going to slow you down for exploding up, but that slash to the basket, catch 1-2 is going to be normal. You shouldn't be penalized for that.
When I mean by jump stop is like if I don't have anything.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. So like if it's a situation, yes.
If I don't have anything and you go off 1 foot and throw up a bad shot.
Yes.
Like especially like, hey, you already starting. I'm trying to get where you're at. I got to do exactly
Right.
what that coach says
Right.
until that trust is built.
Right, and that's a big word. And I actually, and we're gonna leave it at this, but I actually spoke to a player who was saying, well, the coach, he was naming off some players. Well, this was on a varsity team. He trusts these people. No, he's like, well, these people, they can make mistakes, but if I make a mistake or such makes a mistake, we get pulled. I said, it's because they trust him. Yeah, but they make. I said, yeah, but they trust him.
Right.
I said, you have to get to a point to where they trust you. And he's like, and I missed a layup in there, and then they yelled and took me. I said, yeah. I said, so I told him, I said, if you really want to find out how this coach, if the coach is bull crapping you, or if the coach really wants you, don't miss your layups. Make your layups. You do everything tactfully the way it's supposed to be on your closeout, on your rebounds. He said one time that I guess the player, when they were huddling up, he was coming, but he wasn't running fast, and the coach took exception. I said, you sprint every time the coach wants you, hey, let's go, and you sprint. You need to be the first one. Every deficiency that they have said that you have done, you don't have those deficiencies. Now,
that's a great.
You can look and see if they really value you,
right,
or if they're just bull crapping you. Because if you do all of the things that they were on you about and you're no longer messing up on those things, then maybe you can turn around and be a player that they trust. But if you're missing layups in practice, you're going to miss layups in games.
Yeah.
And that layup could have been the deciding factor to either win the game or tie the game, or bring us to one and give us an opportunity or whatever.
Or get you some playing time.
Right. And when I gave it to him like that, his eyes was like, and he was like, I didn't even think about that. And here's why he valued what I say. I mean, not like they're just looking at me like, yeah, whatever. But he really valued it because when he was in middle school, there was an issue with the coach. And the coach was just yelling. He was the best player on the team. The catcher was yelling at him, taking him out and everything. And the dad and the mom were just livid. I said, look, this is what you do. Film the game. Watch the game. And then if there are issues where you don't understand, then you look to have a meeting to just show the coach the film and say, what does he need to do in this situation? This is what you told him to do. That's what he did. But you went against what you told him to do. Now you take him out. I say, when you show them the film, they can't just say, I don't want to talk to you, you just parent. No, that film don't lie. Right? You told him that's how you wanted him to trap on that baseline. He traps on the baseline, somebody else doesn't move over, the pass goes to the middle, that kid gets a basket. You yell at him when it's the backside help that didn't get over, right? Yeah. It's something simple as that. They did that, and the coach had to change because the coach was like, it was like we're feeling like it's personal, but we don't understand if it's personal. It could have been because the kid kind of has a happy-go-lucky, kind of goofy personality. That could have been it, to your point, with what you said, what some coaches don't like in them. But because of that, they say they value. And I said, look, it's easy because wouldn't you like a player to come in and ask you, coach, you got on me about this. What did you want me to do in that situation?
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And now you're talking to the coach in the coach's language. You're not coming complaining. You're coming and being accountable because you need to learn. Right? And this is the other side of that. I always say, it actually will let you know if the coach knows what the hell they're talking about.
Boom. That's what I was getting exactly.
Because if you do what they say, they're going to tell you what they want in that situation. Okay, you do it, and then if they get on you about that, well, coach, you told me that's what you wanted me to do. Well, no, I need you to, but that's what I was doing, and you got on me.
Yeah.
I asked you, you told me to do this, I do this, now you getting on me. So
that's a great way to find out if it's personal or not.
Yeah.
I'll say this lastly: players, parents, coaches got to be better.
It is. They
got to be better.
And it's not just here. It's
everywhere, man.
It's everywhere. And I, my parents, and I'm not just saying this, but I get told all the time how I help a lot of parents and players go through this process.
And that's bigger than training. That's more than training.
Because a lot of them don't know.
awesome.
Like I had a parent whose kid's been playing all these leagues and stuff, and he was scheduled to be here. And I told him, I said, "You're probably not going to be able to come because they're doing tryouts, right?" So then it's like, "Well, I don't think we're going to make it. Trials started at 6." I said, "You're looking at about an hour and a half or 2 at least." Thank you so much. You know what? I didn't know that. I trust what you say. It's great to be able to talk to you. And this is just one out of, hundreds, if not thousands throughout the years that have told me that. So I just try to do my best because I don't want, I want them cut for specific reasons. I don't want them cut because you just giving them, I'm going to say, you giving them some bullshit excuse.
Right.
Tell them, look that kid in the eye and say, that I spent 3 years at Roosevelt killing and never had a chance to make varsity because I was short.
That's crazy.
And you could have told me this my freshman year.
That's crazy.
You know what? Hey, you're a great, exceptional player, but I like my guards tall. And I get that. Okay, I don't understand it, but I get it. You know what I'm saying? Just be honest. Now, some people don't want honesty, but sometimes that's not for you to choose. You be honest and accountable, and you let them know.